Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Jack, this is Jill, and we're the Cynical Siblings. Today we're reviewing WandaVision, Season 1, Episode 3, Now in Color.
Yeah, it was written by Megan McDonnell and directed by Matt Shakman. Almost lost that one, but I got there.
All right, yeah.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking La Posta again, which is, much like last episode, a Argentinian Malbec.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Yep, also much like last episode. Drinking a Malbec, an Argentinian Malbec called Gascon. It's from Mendoza, Argentina.
You liked it, didn't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. I mean, you must have liked it. You decided to have more.
I did.
So that's a good sign.
So what did you think of this episode?
I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. How about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I got into this one a lot more. A lot more happened, and I don't know. The pacing worked better for me. All of the things worked better for me, and I appreciated that. So that was the spoiler-free version or portion of this review.
Yep, from here on out there will be spoilers. If you have not seen the episode, you have been warned.
Yep. So do with that what you will.
Right. Okay, so this episode was all in color.
Yeah.
It's now in color. It's got a very much Brady Bunch kind of vibe to it.
Yep.
And a lot happens here.
So much happens here.
Including the fact that Herb can cut through a cinder block fence with hedge trimmers.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I guess they don't make them like they used to.
I want a set of hedge trimmers like that.
I don't want you to have a set of hedge trimmers like that.
No, I'm pretty certain I could make good use of something like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what else besides the hedge trimmers that I'm absolutely excited about happened in this episode? Anything of note? Oh yeah, Wanda had children.
Oh yeah, there was that. Which we find out through Vision's dialogue, like she became pregnant literally the night before.
Right. Yeah, because the doctor, I guess, is there the next day or something.
Yeah, and Vision is like, what about in 12 hours? You know, how large is the fetus supposed to be within 12 hours?
Right. So apparently this is really, really fast.
Right. Yeah, little known fact, actually, that is faster than normal.
Like a little faster?
Significantly.
Significant.
Yeah.
Like there's a noticeable difference?
Yeah, definitely well outside the bell curve.
Okay. Right. I've never had children, so I wouldn't be able to.
I mean, me neither, but like, yeah, people I've talked to have told me it's usually more than 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then you get the doctor's incredibly condescending, like, we describe this as fruit, because then the ladies can handle it.
Oh man, yeah, that was brutal.
That was terrible and hilarious at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask? Did it make more sense?
It made some sense.
Okay.
Inches would have worked.
Oh, so
I'm multicultural, so if you want to throw centimeters at me, I can do that too.
Ooh, centimeters.
Yeah, I can go metric.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm a geek like that.
Okay, so yeah, the doctor discovers that she's pregnant, and she's 4 months pregnant, but 12 hours pregnant, however that math works. And I think, though, besides the fact that she's pregnant and she has, comes to term in this episode, which is crazy, that is a little weird, a lot of really important things happen here. For example, Agnes and Herb talking outside of the house about Geraldine. Geraldine is not from that town. She doesn't have a home and she doesn't have a family.
Yeah, the doesn't have a home part is odd since she showed up asking to borrow a bucket because the plumbing in her ceiling all burst, but she doesn't have a home to have plumbing.
Right, so that's unusual.
Yeah, that definitely started to feel like she was just kind of barging in and making conversation through all of that, because she tells this story that doesn't make any sense since it's literally 12 hours or I don't know, 16 hours since we first saw her in the mid 60s. So, yeah, time flies.
Yeah, time doesn't really make sense at
No.
all in this series, does it? It's like every episode is its own little mini universe within the universe. So that's kind of, well, it's very sitcom-esque, right? Everything's like reset at the beginning, and you can have like whatever storyline you want, and you don't have to worry about how much time there was from the last storyline.
Right.
So it's very sitcom-esque that way.
Right. Let's see. So all kinds of weird stuff happens. It rains indoors when her water breaks. All of the electricity in town goes out because she's having contractions. A stork in a painting comes to life.
I like the stork.
I liked that she kept trying to get rid of it, and it had very 1970s magic, like the big poof of whatever dust that is or whatever. Yeah. I did really appreciate, because, you know, in the first episode, when it's the late 50s, early 60s, you have the little animated sparkles every time Vision changes his face or walks through furniture. So I like that they updated the magic to work in this era. That was fun. Also aesthetically, Geraldine's outfit. Love that blue vest thing.
Yeah, you really liked her outfit.
I did, yeah.
You usually don't go for anything out of the 70s.
No. Well, the fact that it's not avocado green helps me go for this. You know, that gorgeous blue satiny fabric. But yeah, I really liked the cut of what she was wearing. And personally, I'd want to modernize it a little because, you know, it's clearly the 70s. But I really liked that. That was sharp. So, you liked the hedge trimmers. You know,
I need to say those hedge trimmers. I'm curious why Herb is cutting through cinder blocks with a hedge trimmer.
Yeah,
he seems to be okay with that, and
he seems kind of bewildered. Actually, I thought.
Was he? I don't know. He seemed okay, but I think that's interesting that Herb and Agnes are having this conversation about how Geraldine doesn't belong in this town. And at the same time, the doctor is not able to leave. The doctor is trying to go on vacation to Bermuda. His car breaks down, and at the very end, he says something about how he can't escape. So there is this sense within the town that people seem to kind of know what's going on at this point, and that things aren't right.
Yeah, which carries on from the conversation with Dottie in the previous episode.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get a sense of just how much other people know and understand about the situation. You go all the way back to the first episode, and Mrs. Hart is imploring Wanda to stop it. So there does seem to be this continuous thread that people know what's going on, or they have some sense that some things aren't right. So I'm curious to see how we explore that more. But we can now see it with Agnes and Herb. And we still haven't seen Ralph. So
yeah.
I am more confident that Ralph is actually the center of all of this. Ralph is going to show up, funny. And it's gonna change everything.
Yeah, I would enjoy the hell out of that.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Ralph right now.
Although I'll be honest, if this just continues to be like exactly one of those sitcom things where the character never comes to be revealed, I would really enjoy that too. But I'm more rooting for Ralph actually being at the center of this whole thing.
Yeah, he's like a secret sword agent, or like an alien that's messing with Wanda's mind, or
somehow he's the spider at the center of this web.
Right. Yeah. Or the mastermind behind all of it.
Yeah, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
But then what would that make Agnes? Because I don't think she is not a clueless lady, right? She is not.
No, I mean, in the second episode, she called Wanda the star, and in this one, when she's talking to her, she clearly knows that, you know, there's like that Geraldine is not part of whatever is going on. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it all fits together.
Yeah. Now, before we go any further with Agnes and Herb talking, we got to mention the commercial.
Oh, yeah. So there's another commercial. And this one was for Hydro Soak. The Goddess Within. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, once again, going back to my theory from the last episode that we did. The first commercial is about the Toastmaster, the Stark 2000s Toastmaster, and then the next episode we have a commercial about a Strucker watch, and then in this episode it's Hydra Soak, the goddess within. And if we look at Wanda's personal timeline, she's harmed by Stark Industries war technology, and then she goes to Strucker, who is a major leader within Hydra, who genetically modifies her. And then we have Hydra Soak, the goddess within, where she has, where she has power. You know? So this is all about Wanda. So I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. I just see that it mimics her own personal life history.
Yeah, and we've got the toaster. I think something like it has some shine. The Strucker watch. He'll make time for you.
He'll make time for you, yeah.
And then this one, something about the goddess within.
Right.
Or it's like for the goddess within, or something like that.
And she's able to recreate reality, so that's pretty
godlike.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just appreciated, so in order to do this review, of course, we watched it episode a couple of times. And at first, like, it says Hydra, big as life, across the bar of soap. And I didn't see any Hydra symbols on it. And it was the second time we watched it that I saw all the little blue octopods.
Everywhere. Right. So
everywhere.
Hydra was everywhere.
Yeah, it was hilarious to me that there's 15 of the damn things. And I didn't actually see them the first time.
Yeah, I didn't notice them until the second time either, so...
Yeah, props to the design on that.
And go us for being oblivious.
Yeah, there's that too. But...
so I don't know, this seems to just fit in, it seems like the commercials sort of define Wanda's life history. I don't know if that's what's intended here, but that does seem to be what's happening. We'll have to see with the future episodes, although... I'm really curious where they go from here, because at the end of the last episode, everything transitioned to color.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about this episode is that obviously everything was already in color, but they changed the framing. Right? So at the end of the episode, Geraldine gets kicked out of the village by Wanda using Wanda's powers. When Vision comes in and is like, hey, where's Geraldine? And Wanda's like, she had to leave. The framing,
not creepy at all.
Right. The framing is in a 1970s style TV framing,
just the whole screen.
Right. And then when it kicks to Geraldine getting thrown out of the village, it switches to a modern widescreen.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it does that.
Oh,
so when you're outside the village, it's a modern frame, but when you're inside, it's the old school television frame.
That is, I have to say, again, as much as I dunk on these particular types of sitcoms, I have to say the details that folks are bringing in as they're filming this and writing this and editing this, I appreciate so much of the detail that folks are paying attention to.
Yeah, I feel
that's awesome.
Since I don't like these sitcoms, since that's not my thing, I feel like I have this deep love-hate relationship with this series, because I don't like the style, and yet what they're doing with it is so brilliant and so well done. So I'm really trying to wrap my head around that contradiction. But it's really good. I really like some of those little details that they're throwing in.
Yeah, and we see, it looks like we're going to get some kind of connection to the outside world after this episode, since we see Geraldine land. And I think we're assuming that they're sword agents that are...
Well, she's a sword agent because she's got that pendant on. That's a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know that now.
Right, but we still have no idea why this is happening, how it got started, who's doing what in all of this. Yeah.
And then you really want to mention the part where Wanda once again rewrites the timeline, but she does it to her own husband.
Yeah, that one was tough.
So Vision starts to figure out what's going, or starts to have some sense that something's wrong. He starts saying something's wrong. There was that dinner with Mrs. Hart, and then there was something else. And then as he's realizing that things aren't adding up, Wanda rewinds the tape again, just like she did in the last episode, but instead of protecting herself from an outside force, she's protecting or she's stopping Vision from figuring this out.
Yeah, it was just tough to watch her to do that to her own husband. Basically, just erase his agency and, his inquisitive mind, and his efforts to make sure that things are right and good in the world.
Now, we are assuming that it's Wanda who's doing this. And let's remember that in episode 2, a voice came over the radio saying, "Who's doing this to you?" So someone may be adversely affecting Wanda's psychology, or it could be someone else's powers that are doing some of these things. I know from the comic books that Wanda has reality warping powers, but that actually hasn't been established in the MCU, so I don't know exactly where they're going with this.
Well, that's exactly it. And honestly, this makes me really concerned for the series itself because, Vision's dead as of Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's here, which seems to be part of this reality warping setup. However, it's not very clear because he does act like he's an actual independent thinking person.
Right.
So there's that. And now she's had 2 children. And so if Vision and these 2 kids are figments of her imagination, and if this reality ends, she loses all 3, I don't see how this ends in anything other than just an incredibly dark, soul-crushing process. So I'm a little concerned about where they're going to take this because they could.
Do you want to know how this works out in the comic books?
In 1 second, just let me finish my sentence or my thought of I don't know what the third option is, but I'm really worried that they'll fall off the edge by making everything fine, and even though Wanda lost everything again, she just manages to move on because that's how psychology works. Or, she'll just go off the deep end completely, out of bereavement. And I don't know what the third option is. So what actually happens in the comics?
It's really bizarre and complicated. It's one of those storylines that I wasn't a big fan of. But if I'm remembering correctly, she does give birth to children that she has artificially constructed using her powers, but they have the spirit of a demon in order to give them life. That demon eventually reabsorbs the spirit and the children. And then to make it more complicated, the children are reborn in a reincarnated way, which doesn't make sense, and I'm not going to get into all of that. Yeah, it's convoluted, and it doesn't really make sense. So I don't know how they're going to adapt all of that.
Well, you've said that sword deals with extraterrestrials, and we hypothesized a couple of reviews ago that maybe instead of demons, they're doing some kind of extraterrestrial entity or entities, much like the Asgardians are no longer really gods, they're just far advanced aliens. So maybe some kind of species is trying to impregnate her or something?
I don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's as good a hypothesis as any, I think. Yeah. So, do we have anything else to say about this episode?
Subscribe, click the bell, comment below. Actually, if you do have any theories about where this is going to go, or where the MCU is going to take this particular storyline, I'd be really interested to hear.
Okay, yeah, that would be good. I think we're completely clueless about where this is going to go with the kids. So the comic books really were confusing with what they did with Wanda's kids, so hopefully they have a better written storyline.
Oh, another thing you could comment on is if you know where to get Herb's hedge trimmers.
Oh yeah, let me know. Yeah. I want really good hedge trimmers. I want something that will cut through a cinder block.
I don't know why.
Just think. Look, suppose you're cutting hedges, right? You're in a hedge cutting situation,
right?
But there's a cinder block in the way. you don't have to worry anymore. Your hedge trimmer's already resolved that problem.
What is the cinder block attached to?
Okay, this is a hypothetical. We don't need to worry about all of those details. I'm just saying there's hedge trimming going on, but a cinder block gets in the way, and you have an instant solution because you can just cut right through it.
Okay.
No, this makes sense.
If you have a better hypothetical than that, comment below. All right. I think we're good.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.